But if I was asked to say what is the single most important thing, it is that the activists are key. And that actually the whole concept of organising, it seems to me, is that it is not just about recruitment, it is about building sustainable organisations with reps in every workplace that can actually grow and do more and more for themselves. And out of that sustainable structure, you move away from what I think was the old way that it used to be done, where you send teams of recruiters in, lots of freebies given out, you get a short-term hitch where everybody joins, but then they find they're joining something that you can't sustain, and then they actually leave. And of course, I think we have to be honest and say it can be very damaging to the union movement if people join and then leave, because by word of mouth we get a bad reputation. And so I think the question of sustainability is actually really key, and I think that raises strategy questions for us. That if we're serious, we've got to go in there to build long-term sustainable organisations, not quick hits. And I think we all know that throughout the movement, we have in the past seen the unions that have targets that have thought about it as just about recruitment for short-term hits and not thinking about the long-term sustainability. So for me anyway, activists are the key. We have to nurture our activists. We have to accept that it is their union. They do it on a voluntary basis. They should shape the policy. They have to be involved from start to finish. The conclusion we reached, and I was asked to come with 2 or 3 points, I think, to put forward. I think I came up with 5, so I'll do them quickly, is that the first one is that you need a national strategy, and that national strategy should be democratically agreed and endorsed. And therefore, every year in PCS, we put our organising strategy to our annual delegate conference. Fantastic document that's drawn up by our organising department in conjunction with people around the union, crammed full of things that we're doing, information out there so people can see how things have moved on, and it's voted on at the conference and it is discussed in branch meetings. The reason I think that's important is not because you have a nice looking document that you can show around and say, isn't it great, and then put on the shelf. It's because it's a living document that people can actually participate in the discussions that produces it, and it actually gets buy-in from the union as a whole. Now I say that because I'm going to end with something that may be controversial about the fact that we are moving away now from dedicated organisers, and I want to explain the way what our thinking actually is and why we reached that conclusion. But the start of this journey, when we went from no organisers to employing 20 in a very short period of time, was to get people who've been trained through the academy and get out there and start trying. On a mechanical point, the second thing I draw out is I think measuring density levels and having accurate information is absolutely critical. I know this ain't sexy and it's a bit of a dry subject, but the reality is if you don't know the shape of the workforce, where they are, where they're working, how can you really ever get a feel for your own organisation? And I think that's absolutely critical, because we need to know not just how many members we've got, but where they are, how organised they are in branches. And so density mapping is absolutely critical. And as part of that, we undertook, I think it was when Liz was in PCS, that we undertook a 1.8 branch health check. And the branch health check was designed to work out what's going on out there. How often are the branches meetings? Do they produce newsletters? How many reps have we got? It was all about trying to see not just density, but the maximum amount of information to try and get a picture for what the union looked like on the ground. And in the civil service, we are talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of workplaces. From big factories, essentially, call centres, places where there are 10,000 people on a site, to tiny little job centres in the middle of nowhere where there may be 5 or 6 people. So different sizes, different challenges. You need the information, I think, in order to get the strategy right. But I think it's also fair to say that whilst you need the information and the mechanical stuff, I think for us, the thing that has actually helped bolt all this together is that it's no good being an organising union, I think, if you're not also a campaigning union. And these two things have to be absolutely interlinked. And we have, as Liz has said, as a union, probably faced more attacks from the government in the last 10 years than any other union in the UK. And as a result, we have had to campaign. And it's meant, to give you an idea, that we've gone from a union that didn't have any industrial action ballot on a national scale in a generation, to we are about to have our 5th national strike ballot in 4 years. Now, when you have national strike ballots, lots of things happen, because you need to win them. And you need to know where the members are, where your activists are, where your message is getting across, and where you've got workplace activity. And I can tell you that as a result of campaigning, there is no doubt that every time we've launched a major campaign, our membership has rocketed up. And it's another issue. You then have to ensure that you keep hold of those people and that you involve those new members in the campaign itself. And